Constance Nunes became a familiar face to millions through Car Masters, Rust to Riches, where she spent 6 seasons as the only woman working inside Gotham Garage. Her role as the team's engine specialist quickly made her stand out, not just because of representation but because of her visible technical confidence. For many viewers, she became the heart of the show, a blend of skill, calm focus, and understated charisma. But while fans were still expecting more, the series quietly came to an end after its 6th season in October 2024. There was no dramatic farewell or major announcement. Instead, it was Nunes herself who confirmed via social media that the show had been cancelled sometime earlier. Her tone was pragmatic rather than emotional, acknowledging that 6 seasons is a strong run and that networks often move on. Behind that calm response, however, was a major turning point, because the platform that had amplified her global recognition was suddenly gone. The cancellation wasn't entirely out of nowhere. While Netflix had once counted the show among its more popular automotive reality series, viewership had been gradually declining over time. At the same time, the platform was undergoing a broader shift, canceling numerous unscripted shows as part of a content refresh strategy. Car Masters simply became one of many casualties of that change. For Nunes, though, the end of the show didn't represent the end of her career. It revealed something more important. Television had never been her foundation. Long before the cameras arrived, she had already built a life deeply rooted in automotive work, shaped by years of hands-on experience and discipline that began in her childhood. Born in 1989 in California, Nunes grew up immersed in car culture thanks to her father, a mechanic and drag racer who ran his own shop. Weekends weren't spent casually, they revolved around engines, races, and time in the garage. She wasn't shielded or given special treatment either. In fact, one of the defining moments of her early life was being fired by her own father for not meeting expectations. That experience set the tone for how she would approach her career. Skill had to be earned, not assumed. By the age of 16, she had already purchased and begun restoring her own 1964 one-half Ford Mustang, a project that would later become symbolic of her identity in the automotive world. This wasn't someone who discovered cars through television. Television discovered someone who had already done the work. Before stepping into reality TV, Nunes had spent years working professionally with major automotive brands, including dealerships for BMW, Audi, Acura, and Ford. Her roles extended beyond basic mechanical work into service departments and aftermarket operations, giving her a well-rounded understanding of the industry. At the same time, she was building a parallel career in modeling and media, working with brands like Wrangler and appearing in music videos for artists such as Enrique Iglesias. One of her most high-profile early appearances came in a Super Bowl commercial alongside Christopher Walken, well before her Netflix fame. This dual career often led to skepticism. Some viewers assumed she was a model playing a mechanic, but the reality was the opposite. She had built 2 legitimate careers that happened to intersect. That skepticism followed her onto Car Masters, where some viewers questioned her authenticity. But within the industry, her credibility was already established. She became the first woman to feature in a national commercial for Edelbrock, a respected performance parts manufacturer, signaling recognition from serious automotive circles. She also worked on complex builds outside the show, including a high-profile custom car inspired by the video game Cyberpunk 2077. Projects like these weren't about appearance. They required technical input, problem-solving, and deep familiarity with specific car platforms, particularly classic Mustangs, which had become her specialty. While her professional life was gaining visibility, her personal life remained almost entirely hidden. For years, fans didn't even know she was married to Jared Toller. The couple had dated for 8 years before marrying in 2019, but Nunes deliberately kept the relationship off social media. That privacy meant that when Toller filed for divorce in mid-2020, it came as a shock to many. The split was finalized quickly, and neither party publicly shared detailed reasons. However, the timing alone suggested immense pressure. The COVID-19 pandemic had disrupted her work, halted events, and paused television production, while at the same time her father was battling a serious illness. These overlapping challenges created a period of intense instability, both professionally and personally. Rather than publicly unraveling, Nunes handled the situation quietly. When she eventually spoke about the divorce, her perspective was notably measured. She described it not as a failure but as a case of timing, two people who may have been right for each other under different circumstances. That mindset reflected a broader pattern in how she approached setbacks, not with denial but with reframing. It's also worth noting that she had no children from the marriage, which allowed her to fully refocus on rebuilding her life and career afterward. Even while Car Masters was still airing, Nunes had been laying the groundwork for independence through her own business, Cars by Constance. Based in California, the shop focuses on high-end restorations and custom builds, particularly classic American muscle cars from the 1950s through the 1970s. Unlike many reality TV personalities who struggle to maintain relevance after their shows end, she had already positioned herself as a working professional first and a media personality second. Her builds have been featured at major industry events like SEMA, where credibility matters far more than popularity. She also maintains partnerships with established automotive brands such as Magnaflow and VP Racing Fuels, companies that prioritize expertise over image. Beyond the garage, Nunes has remained active in the broader automotive scene. She has participated in events like the Gumball 3000 and appeared at major car shows and racing-related gatherings. Even when she faced setbacks, such as withdrawing early from a rally due to an accident, her continued presence in these environments reinforced her legitimacy. She wasn't just appearing for publicity, she was actively involved in the culture and competition that define the industry. Financially and professionally, she has continued to grow. With a strong social media following and ongoing brand collaborations, her income streams are diversified across sponsorships, business operations, and media work. She has also remained signed with talent representation for modeling and commercial opportunities, ensuring that side of her career continues alongside her automotive work. This balance, between visibility and substance, has been a key factor in her longevity. What makes Nunes' story particularly compelling is that it isn't defined by a dramatic rise and fall. Instead, it's about continuity. The show that introduced her to a global audience ended, her marriage came and went, and the challenges of 2020 tested her resilience, but none of those events fundamentally changed what she does. She is still building cars, still running her shop, still participating in the automotive world in a hands-on way. The difference now is that she does it with more control, more independence, and a larger platform than before. In the end, what really happened to Constance Nunes isn't a story of disappearance or decline. It's a story of transition. The Netflix chapter closed quietly, but the foundation it sat on, years of experience, discipline, and credibility, remains intact. If anything, her current phase is less about proving herself and more about expanding what she has already built. The cameras may be gone, but the work continues, and for someone like Nunes, that was always the part that mattered most.